The news broke like a thunderclap. Manila scraps F-16 deal. Digital billboards in Manila's financial district flashed the headlines, and global news outlets led with the story. The Philippines, a key U.S. ally, had just walked away from a multi-billion-dollar defense agreement to modernize its Air Force. The decision sent shockwaves through diplomatic and defense circles worldwide. Pentagon officials were caught off guard. Beijing's strategists quickly recalculated the regional balance. This wasn't just about canceled jets. It was a signal of shifting loyalties and priorities. The F-16s were meant to be a deterrent and a reaffirmation of the U.S.-Philippine alliance. The sudden reversal left analysts scrambling for answers. Why would a nation in need of advanced air power turn its back on such a deal? Was this a bold act of independence or a risky gamble with national security? The world watched, waiting to see how this would reshape the Indo-Pacific's delicate balance of power. The story of the canceled deal was just beginning, with implications that would echo for years. The announcement from Malacañang Palace landed with the force of a bombshell. For months, the F-16 deal had seemed inevitable, a cornerstone of U.S.-Philippine defense ties. Washington was blindsided. The State Department and Pentagon had invested significant political capital in the sale. The jets were meant to enhance interoperability and signal America's commitment to its treaty ally. The sudden cancellation forced a rapid reassessment of the alliance. In Tokyo, Seoul, and Canberra, the move sparked confusion and concern about regional stability. A modernized Philippine Air Force was seen as vital to the region's security network. Manila's reversal introduced new unpredictability into an already complex landscape. The scale of what was rejected, a multi-billion-dollar acquisition of advanced fighter jets, was staggering. The world was forced to look closer at the domestic pressures and strategic thinking behind Manila's decision. It was a stark reminder, even among allies, national interests don't always align. The shock set off a scramble to understand what would come next. The F-16 deal was meant to fill a critical gap in the Philippines' air defense. After retiring its F-5s in 2005, the Air Force lacked supersonic interceptors for over a decade. The F-16 Viper, offered with advanced radar, avionics and weapons, was the centerpiece of the modernization program. The U.S.-approved package included not just jets, but missiles, training, and logistical support, a turnkey solution for the 21st century. For Washington, it was a tangible demonstration of alliance commitments. For Manila, it promised prestige, deterrence, and a leap in capability. The deal was expected to be the crown jewel of defense modernization. Military planners and diplomats saw it as proof of a thriving alliance. The public viewed the F-16s as a source of national pride and security. Years of negotiation seemed to guarantee success. That's what made the cancellation so jarring, a complete reversal of a carefully built narrative. The main reason for Manila's decision, cost. The $5.5 billion price tag plus long-term maintenance was simply too much for the nation's budget. Defense planners feared the F-16s would consume resources needed for the Army and Navy. There was also concern about over-reliance on a single supplier, tying the Philippines to the U.S. supply chain. Sustainability was key. Advanced jets risked becoming a hollow force if grounded by lack of funds. The government shifted focus to affordable, sustainable systems, better suited to maritime security and disaster response. The F-16s, for all their power, were judged a luxury Manila couldn't afford. The decision reflected a new doctrine: pragmatic, balanced, and self-reliant defense. The official announcement triggered a wave of reactions. In the Philippines, nationalists hailed the move as an act of sovereignty and fiscal responsibility. They argued the billions saved could fund healthcare, education, and development. Critics, however, called it a grave strategic error, warning it left the country exposed amid South China Sea tensions. Former military officials lamented the lost chance to modernize the Air Force. Pro-U.S. voices worried about damage to the alliance. In Washington, the response was measured but tinged with frustration. The decision was a setback for U.S. strategy in Asia. American defense contractors lost a major sale, and policymakers scrambled to recalibrate support. China's official response was muted, but analysts saw an opportunity for Beijing. Other arms exporters, Sweden, South Korea, Turkey, quickly moved to pitch their own alternatives. The decision reshuffled the international arms market. Manila's move became a case study in the shifting dynamics of global defense. Manila quickly outlined a new defense strategy: pragmatic deterrence. The plan rests on three pillars: diversified suppliers, affordable systems, and local industry development. The era of relying on a single partner is over. Manila is engaging with a wider range of countries, from South Korea to Brazil. The focus is on value for money, lighter, less expensive jets like the Gripen or FA-50, and more patrol vessels for the Navy. The goal, a larger number of good-enough systems that can be maintained and operated sustainably. A key component is building a domestic defense industry, with contracts requiring technology transfer and local production. The aim is self-reliance, jobs, know-how, and a resilient supply chain. Manila is also investing in asymmetric capabilities, coastal missiles, drones, and cyber defense. The strategy is to make aggression costly for any adversary. By tailoring its forces to its geography and budget, the Philippines hopes to build a credible, sustainable deterrent. The F-16 cancellation is a stress test for the U.S.-Philippine alliance. For decades, the partnership has been central to U.S. security policy in the Pacific. The deal's rejection raised questions in Washington about Manila's strategic direction. Philippine officials insist it's a fiscal, not geopolitical, decision. They still value the alliance and host U.S. troops for joint exercises. But Manila wants a more balanced relationship, asserting its right to define its own security needs. The absence of modern fighters creates short-term vulnerabilities and could embolden rivals like China. Yet, if Manila's new strategy succeeds, it could emerge as a more resilient, self-reliant partner. A well-funded, balanced military may deter threats more effectively than a handful of advanced jets. The alliance could evolve into a more equitable partnership, built on genuine cooperation. The current friction may ultimately lead to a stronger, more sustainable alliance. The Philippines' decision is part of a global trend, middle powers asserting independence in defense policy. Countries like Turkey, India, and Indonesia now demand technology transfer, local production, and better financing. The era of buying off-the-shelf hardware from superpowers is fading. New suppliers, South Korea, Turkey, offer flexible deals and co-production, giving buyers more leverage. Middle powers want strategic autonomy, avoiding entanglement in great power rivalries. By diversifying suppliers, they maintain flexibility and avoid choosing sides. For the U.S., this means competing on price and partnership, not just prestige. The opportunity, deeper, more integrated alliances through co-development and industrial ties. The Philippines' move is a wake-up call. Future defense partnerships will be about collaboration, not patronage. The global arms market is entering a new, more competitive era. The Philippines' rejection of the F-16 deal is a bold gamble, an assertion of independence and fiscal realism. If successful, it could set a model for other nations seeking security without breaking the bank. Manila is moving from junior partner to agile middle power, balancing its U.S. alliance with diversified partnerships. The new strategy is demanding, but offers greater control over its destiny. The immediate risk, a period of vulnerability and possible strain with Washington. The promise more resilient, sovereign nation with a balanced, sustainable military. Success could spark industrial growth, technological progress, and enhanced capability. The world is watching to see if this gamble pays off. Ultimately, this is about more than fighter jets. It's about national identity and self-determination. The roar of F-16s won't echo over the archipelago, but Manila hopes for the steady hum of homegrown strength. This is the Philippines' defining moment as a 21st-century nation.